Hello guys, welcome back to the Roblox scripting tutorial series. Last video, we did do client and server replication. So in today's video, we're going to be using all of these services on the side. Now, when you first opened Roblox, you probably thought these were pretty intimidating. I know when I first opened Roblox Studio, these were all like really intimidating for me. And I just left because I was like, man, what am I looking at? And, it's it scared me. But each of these have their own different purposes. And the reason why I wanted to go over client and server replication before we started these services, like learning how to use them through scripts and what these do, is because some of these are only server sided and some of these are only like local sided or client sided, I should say, better term for that. And all of these services have their own different methods, properties, functions that you can configure in your game through scripts or through right here. Like for example, Workspace, it shows you who the current camera is in the workspace of like who it's parented to, so like the player or the server. You can also mess with like a lot of things like gravity. So if I like mess with my gravity in the workspace, I can say like -50 or something, or you can't go below negative, but I can say like, bro, I can say like 50. How about that? And if I press play, then we're gonna have a lot less gravity than usually we do because the default is 196.2. And look at that, I jump slowly. It's pretty cool. It's pretty cool. And you guys can go ahead and mess with all of these services, all the properties that they have. I'm gonna set this back to 196. But you guys can mess with all of these properties and like what they do. You can get a general idea of like what these are gonna help with. I'm just gonna go over some of these basic ones, and then we're gonna start scripting them. So in the player service, this is all the players that are gonna spawn to the game. Each player is gonna have a backpack and some scripts that are parented to them. Right here, we have all of these properties. We have even the user ID of the player, and we can actually like, um, actually, yeah, but we have all of these different properties for like the player, their team, their ID. This is the user ID or the appearance ID. You can use this to save data. It's pretty cool. In the player service, a really good thing to notice is that respawn time. Let's change this to like 0. Now your game respawns immediately, which is really good. Right here we got workspace, all the stuff in the game, the drop down, lighting. This deserves its own video, but for now, because we're gonna script this in a whole different video, but I get brighter and whatnot. Pretty easy to understand. I have no clue what to do with material service. I will not lie. Network client. I think this is for Roblox. Replicated first. This is all the stuff that loads before the game. So you put whatever you want here to load before the game starts, and that doesn't mean like putting in like buildings or stuff. It's more of like you would use like UI and then parent it down here to the starter GUI. So in replicated first deserves its own video. I know I just said that, but because we're gonna make a loading screen with this, so it's pretty cool. Replicated storage. Okay, now this is good. This is where you basically you typically would store remote events and stuff like that. That was a different thing. I didn't even know why I had that here. You would stuff in events, functions, even scripts, folders, stuff like this. Server and client have both access to replicated storage, which is good to know. So I would put like VFX, meshes in here, stuff of that nature. I would just store very good information into here, like total time played in the game or something like the server time or something like that. Server script service. This is where we've been putting all their scripts. This is just a way to organize your scripts, and this is where you just put them. Really. Server storage. This is only accessible on the server. This is stuff like meshes, VFX that you only want accessible on the server. I would put bullets on here, trails, stuff like that. But this is just really storage for the game. I like to keep my stuff in here and then put it back in the workspace whenever I need it. Starter GUI. This kind of needs its own series, but this is you put a screen GUI, you put a frame, and now you have 2D UIs and stuff like that. And this is where you store all of this UIs. I do have some tutorials on this though. I do know that. Starter pack. This is for next video. Actually, you put in tools in here, and this is in the player's backpack right here. Starter player. This is where this is actually where people trip up. Starter character scripts, whatever script you put in here, so client or server, will be parented to the player's character immediately. And the starter player scripts, anything you put in here, will be parented to the player's like player right here. So character scripts is for the player's character, and player is for the actual player, like in the player's service. You would use like character for or starter player character scripts for like movement, because you have direct access to the character from the script. Starter player just for basic starter like visuals and stuff like that for the player. You want to put that in like starter GUI. Oh yeah, starter GUI is client sided as well. Anything UI is client sided. Teams, this kind of deserves its own video. It's nothing crazy. Sound service is nice. You can play sounds from here, because sounds the way the way in Roblox when we go over it in a different video is that they have some roll off distance and whatnot, and you might not want that. So sound service is really nice. You can group sounds, way for organizing your sounds. And text chat service, I'll do some tutorials on this as well. This is just like the chat box in the top left. And yeah, those are the basic services. They're pretty easy to work with. So let's add a script in the server script service, and let's name it services. And I'm gonna go over some nice services that we may not even see in here, because there are more services than we see over here. But these are the main ones that Roblox provides us because they're really easy to work with. I just deleted my scripts. Nice. Okay. Here we go. I'm gonna name it services. And yeah, okay. So to access a service, let's access the player service. We can say local players, which is going to be a service, or we can say service, but most people just say players. Game, get service. So it's going to give us the service right here. Players. Awesome. Now we have all the different methods and events that the service has that we don't see when we drop down. So now we can say players dot as all of these properties like respawn time. And then we have all these methods as well. So we have get player from by user ID from character. All of these are so good. Get user thumbnail. This is really nice. Okay, we can just do the player added connect to function. And look at that. Now the general practice is to like instead of saying game.players.local or player added, because these are the same thing, you would get the service first. I don't think there's much of a difference. I don't know, but this looks way nicer. It's way neater, and it just looks better. So why not? Why not? And you also have direct access to more different things you can put inside of here as well, which makes a lot more sense. And then we have things like debris. This is a really good service. I'm gonna get rid of this. So debris is a really, really good service. What it basically is removing stuff. And it's Roblox's way of storing cache, CACHE, into like Roblox's like not engine, but into like Roblox's data stores, basically. Not data stores. Like it's basically like cache stores. Basically, they're storing unneeded memory into the debris service, basically. And this is what it handles. It handles memory leaks, things of that nature. Memory leaks are leaks in your game that can be unnoticed. And for example, let's say you store like something in a part or something like that, and we don't use it in the rest of the game, and that's gonna add up if a lot more connections, parts are being made that aren't being destroyed. That's gonna add up later, and it's gonna make your game lag and your performance much worse for no reason because the player is not seeing these things. So we gotta clean up. The breach service is basically used to clean up. It cleans up our game, makes it run smooth and fast, so we can have things performed as the peak level. Now we can have a part like my part in the workspace, or even better, for the sake of the video, we can say local workspace is equal to game get service workspace. How cool is that? And now we can use this workspace. That my part is the part I always use, and we can actually say task dot. No, we don't have to do that, but we can say part remove, or we can say part delete or destroy. Sorry. And the reason why I'm showing you guys this, well, remove is deprecated, so there's no point in using it, but it does exist. What it does is it just removes the part from the game, and the same thing with destroy, it destroys it from the game, and it gets rid of that memory. Debris service does the same thing as those two. So let's actually just show you real quick. Let's say part destroy, and this is the my part. Where's my part? which one is it? This one here. When we join the game, the my part will be destroyed, which in turn, it is not there anymore. And it's not in the workspace anymore, which means we saved some memory. We freed up some memory. But the debris service does this a lot more flawlessly, and it's Roblox's most up-to-date method for cleaning up. So we can say debris add item. You can add tag, add item, all of these stuff, but for now, we are going to add item to the debris service. So what the arguments are is we pass in our item our instance that we want to get rid of, and how long we want to wait until we actually get rid of it. It's pretty cool. So I can put in my part, and then I want to get rid of it after 2 seconds, or let's say 3 seconds. And what debris service is going to do is that in 3 seconds, it'll add it to the debris store. Damn, that quick? How long did it take me to load? Okay, hold on. Let's actually say when the player is added. Ooh, there you go. That's how we use all the services together. Let's say players, game get service players. And let's say upon the players that player added, connect the function of the player. And let's say player that character added, connect the function of our character, because that's what it takes. And then we're going to say debris add item. So only when my player is actually added. And I'm going to print out right here. Print part destroyed. And I hope this only waits because man, it's pretty fast. My computer's pretty slow. There we go. Nice. And then part destroyed. Very nice. And as you can see, the part was destroyed after we were added to the game. Most people I've seen do like while test out wait 60 seconds. I've seen them do like they'll loop in like like some sort of folder in the workspace, like my folder, get children or something, and they'll say like, every 6 seconds check in that folder, and if there's anything in there, then we gotta destroy it. Just like clean up always, some sort of automatic cleaning up service. Granted, that probably does make the game lag more with the while loop than having some memory leaks, but or having like just checking, like it probably won't even be there, but I've seen that before, like doing for other people's projects. But yeah, debris service is pretty nice because it allows us to add items or add different instances and remove it after a certain time. Okay, and then now let's actually use it practically. So let's make a function, create parts, and this function, and yeah, we're going to say in this function, let's make it return a part actually, and that part we will destroy. And we're gonna for loop these parts. So let's make some variables. So local part amount is equal to 12 parts. Local that should work actually. This is just that. So we can say for I is equal to, let's say, 1, and then part amount and 1 do, but I have to say this 1, but just for the sake of it. And then we can say local part is equal to instance, or no, we could say local part is equal to create parts, and we can actually call this parts. There we go. And it doesn't return anything yet, so nothing will happen. However, we are going to make something happen. So now let's pass in the index as well. And then I'll say local part is equal to instance.new part. And I'll say part.parent is equal to workspace. Part.anchored is equal to true. Part.can collide is equal to false. Yep, that's a good one. Part.color is going to be color. Let's use some math.random so it's like a rainbow. 3.from RGP. Math.random. 0255. Math.random. 0255 and then math.random on the blue axis. Wow. The 0255. And then now we can actually say our size is going to be, let's say it's just one stud across every single X and Y and Z. So then now our position is going to be the tricky part. And I'm actually just going to return part. Yeah, there we go. Let's say the part.position is equal to vector3.new, and let's make it at I on the x-axis, and then 0 and 0. And I'm going to raise it 3 studs? Nah. No, it's fine. And then, or maybe we can actually say at the spawn location. Yeah. So we can say workspace.spawn location.position right here. And then now we're gonna create these parts. And then after each part is created, now I can add the debris service up here or down here. It doesn't matter. But I'm gonna put debris add item part. And I'm gonna after 6 seconds or 5 seconds, it will disappear. The part will just be gone. So let's actually just see this real quick. Let's see what we have. And we'll position it after we just see what we're working with. Damn. Did I anchored it? Oh, it fell through the freaking. Oh, it fell through the map. Oh my god, that's so annoying. Even if I anchor it, damn. Yeah, part that anchored, true. Workspace, false. Okay. And then we're gonna actually add a vector. Yeah, let's add. So this is a whole different video for vectors, but this is how you would raise it. So I'm gonna raise it 5 studs on the y-axis. Okay, there we go. Oh shit, it got removed. Oh, they're getting removed for each one. I see what's happening. Okay. So let's actually make this let's not do that real quick. Let's actually just like see it first. Okay, there we go, parts. And they're all in the same spot, as we can see. So we gotta space them out. We definitely gotta space them out. And let's try to get them in some sort of like circular motion. So I'm just gonna say, we can actually do this like, okay, let's say local like radius or something. So just like I just want to space them out a little bit. I don't want to like fully make a circle, but let's just say like local offset. How about that? Is equal to whatever. We'll say radius or no. So we'll say radius, and then whatever we put in here times that radius. So I'm gonna say I. So space it out. And I'm gonna actually say something like I times the radius, which is gonna be yeah. And should I? I'm thinking. I don't remember the full script to make a circle. I do know I need to use pi and sine and cosine because pi times 2 is a full circle. So I'm just gonna say like math.pi times 2, and then all of that times the radius, and then I'm gonna actually just say offset right here. So I'm gonna see how that looks like right here. And I just want them to be spaced out really. I just want to be able to see each part. Oh wait, did I do that for every single part as well? I did. Oh, what am I doing? What am I doing? All right, let's just say I. How about that? Yeah, and the radius is too high, so let's just make it like 1 or something. And I don't even have to use this. Okay. Matter of fact, I'm actually just going to offset it by like 3 studs or something. Or not even, but I'm gonna offset it by math.pi. How about that? And now let's see our. There we go. That's much better. Now it's in a perfect straight line, which is pretty nice. And if we multiply this by 2, well then it'd be even. Well, it'd be. Yeah, the offset is actually perfect like this. If we did it by 2, it'd be in a spaced out perfectly for a circle, and then you'd have to offset it with some like sine and cosine to move this one right here and this right here, and it's a whole thing. But we can see all our parts. We have our floating line right here, and then now what we can do is we can actually add all of these to debris service. So we can say debris add item of parts, and then we can say after 5 seconds, and we can actually put this up here for each part. So we can do that down here or up there. It doesn't matter. And then now we'll see after 5 seconds the parts are removed no longer in the workspace. And yeah, that's a pretty basic rundown for debris service and most services. I know that one was kind of like long and a little confusing at some points, but if you have any questions, put them in the comments below. I kind of tripped out on my math, I'm not gonna lie. Yeah, math in game development is definitely a fun thing. It's really fun, but it's more of understanding how this works, not why. Just like don't memorize, actually learn how. And I low-key kind of forgot right now, so I'm gonna have to review that. I can't be in calculus not knowing this. But anyways, our services such as workspace, players, lighting, these all have different properties, methods, and functions that we can use in our scripts. Some really useful ones are like debris service or player service to access players. Debris service allows us to allocate memory and do things with memory that we can free up memory and prevent memory leaks in our game, so we can actually have a high performing game. And we can do that with using add item to add in whatever instance we want after a specified amount of time. Debris service is really useful for keeping your game clean and organized and not having things interceding or impeding with your game, so like memory and performance. So I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye bye.